Welcome to Silent Builders,
a place for those who choose growth over comfort, discipline over excuses, and consistency over shortcuts.
Here we have honest conversations about mindset, self-improvement, emotional strength, and the habits that quietly shape extraordinary lives.
No fake motivation, no overnight success stories, just practical ideas, timeless lessons, and real conversations that help you become a better version of yourself.
So wherever you're listening from,
grab a coffee, take a deep breath, and let's build something that lasts.
This is Silent Builders.
Build quietly, win loudly.
Rahul, can I ask you something?
Always.
Have you ever noticed something strange about people?
Depends. What kind of strange?
Almost everyone wants a better life.
That's true.
Ask anyone what they want, and you'll hear answers almost immediately. Better health. More confidence. A stronger body. Financial freedom. Peace of mind. Meaningful relationships. A successful career. A happier life.
Exactly. I've never met someone who said, you know what? I actually want more stress, less money, poor health, and constant regret.
Right? Nobody dreams about struggling forever.
We all imagine a better version of ourselves.
Then here's the real question. If almost everyone wants a better life, why do so few people actually build one?
That's the uncomfortable part. It's not because people don't have dreams. Most people dream big. The problem is, they never change the habits that create those dreams.
That's powerful. People want extraordinary results while repeating ordinary routines every single day.
Exactly. Someone says they want to get healthier, but they skip every workout. They say they want confidence, but avoid every uncomfortable conversation. They want financial freedom, but never learn new skills or manage their money differently.
It's almost like we're expecting tomorrow to reward habits we never practiced today.
That's a great way to put it.
Everyone loves the destination. Very few fall in love with the journey. And the journey is usually boring. It's waking up when you don't feel like it. Reading when scrolling feels easier. Going for a walk instead of lying on the couch. Saving money instead of buying something you don't need.
Those choices don't look important in the moment. They're tiny, almost invisible. But that's exactly how your future is built. One small decision at a time. You know what I've realized? Nobody accidentally becomes successful. And nobody accidentally stays average either.
Every lifestyle is simply a collection of repeated habits. Your future isn't decided by one big decision. It's shaped by thousands of small ones.
That's why this sentence stayed with me for years. We all dream above average, but we often live average. Wow. That hurts a little. Because it's true. We imagine extraordinary lives while protecting ordinary comfort. And maybe that's the real cost of being average. Not that you lacked talent, not that you lacked opportunity, but that your daily choices never matched your biggest dreams. That's a conversation everyone needs to have with themselves. Rahul, have you ever noticed that comfort feels harmless?
What do you mean?
Nobody wakes up and says, I'm going to ruin my future today.
Exactly.
Instead, we tell ourselves little stories. Just one more episode. Tomorrow I'll start. I'll wake up early next week. I'll exercise next month. I'll learn that skill when I finally have time. And every one of those sentences sounds completely reasonable. That's why they're so dangerous. Right. because nothing feels wrong in that moment. You're comfortable. You're relaxed. There's no immediate consequence.
And that's what makes comfort so addictive. It never asks for a big sacrifice. It only asks for one small excuse.
You know what's interesting? Comfort never says, "Give me your future."
No, it says, just relax today.
And tomorrow, it says exactly the same thing.
That's how weeks disappear, then months, then years.
One comfortable decision doesn't change your life, but thousands of comfortable decisions absolutely do. That's why people are often shocked 5 years later. They wonder, how did I end up here?
The answer wasn't one bad decision. It was hundreds of easy ones.
Here's something I've realized. Comfort doesn't destroy your future overnight.
It steals it. One comfortable decision at a time.
Every time you choose convenience over growth, you're quietly voting for the life you'll have tomorrow.
And the scary part is, you usually don't notice it happening.
Success is rarely created by one giant breakthrough.
Just like failure is rarely caused by one giant mistake.
They're both built through daily choices.
So maybe the real question isn't, what do I want from life?
Maybe the better question is, what am I choosing today?
Because today's choices become tomorrow's reality.
You know what's funny, Rahul? Most people think success happens because of one big moment.
Like landing the perfect job, starting a business, or becoming famous overnight.
But real life doesn't usually work like that.
Neither does failure.
Exactly. Average isn't something that happens to you.
It's something that's quietly built every single day.
Every decision you make is like casting a vote.
A vote for the person you're becoming.
And the strange part is, most of those votes don't feel important. They seem too small to matter. But they always do.
Sleeping an extra hour. Scrolling social media for just 5 minutes. Avoiding that difficult conversation. Not reading today. Skipping another workout. Putting off learning a new skill.
None of those choices seem life-changing.
That's exactly why people underestimate them.
Because the cost isn't immediate. You don't become unhealthy after missing one workout. You don't become broke after wasting 1 hour. You don't lose confidence after avoiding one conversation.
But repeat those choices day after day, month after month, and something starts to change.
Quietly. Almost invisibly.
Then one day, you look in the mirror and wonder how you got here.
The answer isn't one big mistake. It's thousands of tiny decisions stacked on top of each other.
That's the power of habits. They don't just shape your routine. They shape your identity.
Years later, those tiny choices become your health, your confidence, your relationships, your career, your financial future.
Eventually, they become your life.
That's why every ordinary day matters. Not because today changes everything.
But because today's choices are quietly building the person you'll become tomorrow.
You know, Rahul, when people hear the phrase, the cost of being average, they usually think about money.
Yeah, they imagine smaller salaries, missed promotions, or financial struggles.
But I don't think money is the biggest price we pay.
Then what is?
Opportunities. The ones we never even realized we were qualified for. Because we never prepared ourselves. That's true. Sometimes the biggest opportunities don't disappear because we're unlucky. They disappear because we weren't ready when they arrived. Exactly. Preparation creates opportunity. Comfort lets it pass by. And most people don't even notice the opportunities they missed because they never saw them in the first place.
Then there's confidence. People think confidence comes first and action comes later. But it's usually the opposite. Confidence grows because of action. Every promise you break to yourself makes it a little harder to trust yourself next time. And every promise you keep, no matter how small, builds confidence quietly. Then there are dreams. Not dreams that fail, dreams that slowly disappear. Because life gets busy. Comfort becomes routine. Years pass, and eventually people stop talking about what they once wanted. That's heartbreaking. Not because the dream was impossible, but because it was forgotten. And maybe the biggest loss of all is wasted potential. Every one of us has abilities we'll never discover, unless we're willing to challenge ourselves. Which brings us to something I've thought about for a long time. The most painful thing isn't failure. It's wondering who you could have become. That's a difficult sentence to hear. Because deep down, everyone has imagined a different version of themselves. A healthier version. A wiser version. A braver version. A happier version. And regret isn't created in one day. It's built slowly. Every time we choose comfort over growth. So don't let your future be filled with questions that today's decisions could answer. Become the person your future self will thank you for.
Rahul, if becoming better is something almost everyone wants, why do so many people stay exactly where they are?
I think it starts with one word. Fear.
Fear of what?
Fear of failing. Fear of being judged. Fear of looking foolish. Fear of hearing someone say, "I told you so."
That's so true. Sometimes people don't fail because they tried. They fail because they never started.
Imagine someone who always wanted to start a business. Every year they say, maybe next year. Not because they lack ideas, but because they're afraid the idea won't work.
And while they're standing still, someone with less talent, but more courage, moves ahead. Then comes comparison. Social media has made that even harder. We compare our first step to someone else's 10th year. That's never a fair comparison. Then there's comfort. Probably the quietest trap of all.
Because comfort doesn't feel dangerous. It feels safe.
Safe enough to stay where you are. Safe enough to avoid change. Safe enough to keep saying, "I'm fine." Until years go by and you realize you've been surviving instead of growing. Another reason people stay average? Waiting. Waiting for motivation. Waiting for Monday. Waiting for January. Waiting for the perfect opportunity. It's amazing how often people postpone the life they actually want. The problem is, life rarely announces the perfect moment. Sometimes, today is the opportunity you've been waiting for. There's one more reason that doesn't get talked about enough. Perfectionism. People think perfectionism means having high standards. Sometimes, it's just fear wearing a better disguise. They spend months planning, researching, preparing, tweaking every little detail. But they never actually begin. But done will always teach you more than perfect. Absolutely. And finally, external validation. That's a big one. Too many people stop working because nobody clapped. Nobody noticed. Nobody liked the post. Nobody said, "You're doing great." But if your effort depends on applause, your consistency will disappear the moment the applause does. Real growth begins when your standards become louder than other people's opinions. That's when you stop chasing approval and start building a life you're actually proud of. And maybe that's the moment you stop being average.
We've talked a lot about why people stay average. So here's the question. How do you escape it? I think people expect some complicated answer.
a secret formula, a life-changing hack. Yeah, like there's one magical habit that changes everything overnight. But there isn't. Real transformation usually begins with ordinary actions, repeated consistently. If someone asked me where to start, I'd say read something every day. Not because one chapter changes your life, but because every page changes the way you think. Knowledge compounds, just like interest in a bank account. Except this investment changes you. Then move your body. Exercise isn't only about looking better. It's about having more energy, more discipline, and proving to yourself that you can do difficult things. Learn one new thing every day. A skill, a word, an idea, a lesson from someone who's already walked the path. Growth isn't about learning everything. It's about never stopping learning. And here's one habit that changed the way I see myself. Keep promises to yourself. If you say you wake up at 6, wake up at 6. If you promise yourself 20 minutes of reading, do it. Every promise you keep strengthens your self-respect. Every promise you break weakens it. Another habit? Protect your attention. Limit distractions. Your focus is one of the most valuable things you own. Don't give it away to everything that demands it. And maybe the most important lesson of all, build in silence. You don't need to announce every goal. You don't need everyone's approval. Sometimes, the strongest progress happens when nobody is watching. Just become 1% better than yesterday. Not 10 times better. Not perfect. Just 1%. Because 1%, repeated every single day, creates a person you'll barely recognize a year from now. Great lives aren't built in giant leaps. They're built through small choices, made consistently, even when nobody is applauding. That's how you escape average. One quiet day at a time.
You know, Rahul, life rarely changes because of one extraordinary day. It changes because of ordinary days and the choices we make during them. Every morning you wake up, you're writing another page of your story. Every habit, every decision, every promise you keep or break becomes part of the person you're becoming. 10 years from now, you'll meet the person your daily choices created. Not the person you dreamed about, the person you built. The question is, will you be proud to meet that person?
Because your future isn't being decided someday. It's being decided today. Right now. In the small choices that nobody else sees. You don't need to become extraordinary overnight. Just refuse to stay the same. Choose growth over comfort. Discipline over excuses. Progress over perfection. Build quietly. Stay consistent. Trust the process. And let your results speak louder than your words. Because the life you've always wanted is being built by the decisions you make today. Thank you for spending this time with us. If this conversation made you think, share it with someone who's quietly building their future too. This is Arjun and Rahul. Together, keep building quietly. And one day, you'll win loudly.
Before we go, remember this.
Your future isn't built by one big decision. It's built by the small choices you make every single day.
If today's conversation gave you something to think about, don't let it end here. Take one idea and put it into action today.
And if you know someone who's quietly working to become better, share this episode with them. Sometimes one conversation can change someone's direction.
If you're enjoying Silent Builders, don't forget to follow the podcast so you never miss a new episode. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing,
keep building.
This is Arjun.
And Rahul,
Thank you for listening.
build quietly.
Win loudly.